to Nativity Church in Bethlehem, and they believe this place where Yeshua or Christ was born. Atau tempat yang biasa disebut dengan nama Palungan. And the entrance is really small. Look, the entrance is really small.
Group, everyone's here, my group.
Oh wow.
Okay. Padre, un momento. Okay. Okay, so we will be entering the Church of the Nativity through the small entrance. There's a story why the entrance is this small, but I want you to notice that the original entrance was a huge entrance. Go, Father, go. Yes. I want you to notice that the original entrance was a huge entrance. You can see the upper ledge of it. This building, the building of the church that you will see today, is around 1,500 years old, built by Emperor Justinian, who was a Byzantine emperor. Of course, there were some modifications made in later times, but the basic stuff inside the church are from the times of Emperor Justinian. In the Crusade time, in the 12th century, the entrance was made smaller, but it was still big. You can see the arched entrance. And then in the Turk-Ottoman period is when the entrance of the church was made with that small size. Now, the church is only this building behind me, okay? Now, the buildings around are buildings of monasteries of different churches, like they mentioned to you at the shop, the Jerusalem cross. The Jerusalem cross is an emblem used by the Franciscan church all the time as a mark for their holy locations or holy sites. Over there, that's the Franciscan church monastery with the Jerusalem cross on top of it. To my left is the Armenian monastery of the church, and all the way behind the church, we cannot see it from here, there is the Greek Orthodox monastery. Now, okay. I think you're all properly dressed for the visit of the church. Anybody's wearing like open clothes? Or no, you're all good, I think. Okay, but please remove sunglasses, and men remove hats if anyone has a hat on. And we will be entering the church through the small entrance. معي 29 جنسيات مختلفة. أنا جورج وهدول راحوا عند نصر القنوات. Please watch your heads while entering and feel free to take as many pictures as you want.
We are entering the Church of Nativity. They believe this place where Yeshua or Christ was born. Wow. Watch out, careful. Let's go. We follow him.
Does not open before 10:20, sorry. And from my experience, this line is at least 1 hour. So that's 1 hour. Start counting from 10:20. Which at least will be 11:20 to arrive at the entrance of the gate. Now, according to our schedule, by 12:20 we should be almost in Jericho or halfway to Jericho. If we spend that time in line, that will be a problem for our schedule today. Okay? Yes, ma'am, but even if we came here at 7 o'clock, we would have to wait until 10:20 for the gate to open. We would not see the shop, we would not see anything from the church. Just stand in line for 3 hours, which is not a good thing to do. I wouldn't do it. Some people are really interested in seeing the case. Some people might say we spend too much time standing in line for the case, so I cannot be between here or between there. I should do as the schedule says. Okay?
There's another one.
So, as I told you, the church here is an active church. This is why the cave under the church is closed. Now, when I mentioned the cave, according to the tradition and according to the beliefs of many churches, is recognized to be the birthplace of Jesus. Now, a lot of people might tell me, but Jesus was not born in the cave. How do you say Jesus was born in the cave? He was born in a manger. But the expression is wrong here. A manger is not something to be born in. A manger is something where people placed food for animals to eat at a barn. And a barn at the times of Jesus and even until this day, Bedouins living in the desert, a barn could be at a cave similar to this one under the church. Now, the first church that was built on the location is not this one. There was a previous church that was built around 1,700 years ago on the location by Emperor Constantine and his mother, Queen Helena. Then the first church was destroyed by the Samaritans when they rebelled against the Byzantines. Okay? And the second church was built on the location by Emperor Justinian, as I mentioned to you outside. So the location here has been the location for around 1,700 years now. Not 500 years, not 1,000 years. And you know, Jesus was born almost around 2,000 years ago. People at that time knew better, knew where something happened or when something happened. And we call this tradition passed down from generation to another that helped us know or determine where something happened or when something happened. And the same story, or actually this is the story here for the church, and the same story for different churches around the Holy Land. Okay? Some ruins we will get to see over there from the first church. We will move soon, but let's stay here for a minute. Let me explain to you more things about the church. I mentioned to you 3 denominations outside, 3 monasteries for 3 different denominations. Now the Greek Orthodox Church has the lion's share here. This whole building until the main altar over there belongs to the Greek Orthodox Church. Now the left apse of the church, to the left side from the main altar of the church, which is under restoration over there, belongs to the Armenians. A small apse belongs to the Armenians. The Catholics have a church built outside, wall to wall with this church. According to an agreement which is around 270 years old, which is called the Status Quo Agreement, this is how things have been organized at the Church of the Nativity and 2 other churches, important churches in the Holy Land. This agreement, the Status Quo Agreement, is an agreement that was signed in the Turk Ottoman period between different churches in the Holy Land or main churches in the Holy Land, saying, this is my part, this is your part, this is my time of the day to have a procession, this is your time of the day to have a procession, and like this. And this is what's happening here. This is why there are processions in the morning and in the afternoon, bless you, by the 3 denominations. Now, when each one has a procession, they close the cave for visitors. They go inside at least 40 minutes until they finish the procession. The line at the church becomes like really long, sometimes in the shape of an M and sometimes in the shape of letter M. This is how crowded the church can get. So this is 1 hour, but this is nothing. I waited here many times, 4 hours with groups, but they were only coming to see the church and leave. They did not have anything to do that here, which is different for you. Now, the processions happen inside the cave. Then, when each church finishes, they go out, they ring a bell, and then they allow people revisit or to start visiting the church. If you look around you, please, you will notice that the church, let's come closer and see the mosaic since it's empty here. Let's gather around, please, here.
How many years? 1,700 years.
Feel free to take pictures, please.
This was 325 years after Jesus was born. 325 years after Jesus.
This is
Okay?
what we call
There was Queen
the carpet at the church.
was Helena.
The carpet is always
She was mother
on the floor of the church, right?
Romans.
But this is no carpet. This is a mosaic floor that looks like a carpet. This was the floor of the first church on the location. This carpet is 1,700 years old almost,
That church
from the times of Emperor Constantine.
was destroyed by
This is what's left from the first church on the
we call
location.
them Samaritans.
If you look around you,
One of the
you will notice
12 tribes in Judaism, Jewish, they were Jewish. Destroyed this one. So this is what left from the original church. The church, the current church we see right now, right here,
most of the golden pieces are gold pieces. The ceiling of the church is made from cedar wood,
Romans.
brought from Lebanon to decorate the ceiling with. And this, when we talk about these decorations, this tells us how important the church was because of the decorations they used to decorate it with. Mosaic floor, gold mosaics, marble pillars, cedar wood. Even some walls inside the church for some period of time were covered with marble blocks. Now what people go inside the cave and see, of course there are stairs taking down to the cave. At the bottom of the stairs on the right, people visit a silver star placed on the ground of the cave at one of the cave's corners, where the tradition said that at this corner is where Jesus was born inside the cave. So some people go inside, kneel down, get blessed from the location and exit from the other side, and some people just take a picture and keep moving. So people wait like for 1 hour, 2 hours sometimes just to spend 20 seconds inside and then exit. This is what people see inside the cave. Now the silver star inside the cave is actually a replacement for a golden star that was here until the Turk-Ottoman period, but suddenly it disappeared. Nobody knew where it went. It was stolen. So these beautiful decorations were a grace at some times, but at times of conflict, this made the place feel unsafe because everybody was trying to steal from it. And the Turk-Ottoman period for Christians in the country was the worst period throughout the history of the country. When people were going inside the church stealing, no government was protecting the priests, no government was protecting the church, nothing. Even the Christians were not allowed to ring bells of churches when they had to. Now, the church thought of something to protect itself. They thought, okay, the government is not protecting us, we need to do something about this. This is when they thought of the small entrance. The small entrance was made to prevent stealing, to stop stealing from the church. The small entrance was made to protect the church from invaders and thieves. The small entrance was made to stop those Ottoman soldiers from going inside the church riding their horses. And also, does anybody know what's the name? What's the name of the entrance of the church? Gate of Humility. And the name comes from something we all did while entering, and that is bowing down, humbling ourselves, and showing respect to the holy site and what it represents, right? Yes. Let's move aside, please. Now, the church in the year 2012 was designated on the list of the UNESCO as one of the World Heritage Sites. And immediately in the year 2013, the they started the restorations here. They fixed the church, they restored the church, they cleaned the pillars, they cleaned the mosaics on the upper walls, they fixed the ceiling because it was leaking every winter. The church looks more beautiful now than it looked 1 year or 2 years or 3 years ago. They are supposed to finish. They are supposed to finish the restorations at the church at the end of this year. So we hope they finish in time, because like that we will have more access to more corners and more details inside the church. Of course, the pillars, or what's Byzantine is until the capitals of the pillars. The upper walls with the mosaics on them are from the Crusade era, and the paintings of saints on the columns also from the Crusade era, the 12th century. And the ceiling of the church is from the 15th century, but it was restored many times throughout the history of the church, and the last time was like last year. We will be, yes.
Why are they just some spaces?
Good reason. I mentioned to you that there are a lot of gold pieces. Most of the parts that are missing were stolen from the church in the Turk Ottoman. And this is only what's left from the original mosaics that were covering all the upper walls. There are mosaics over there. There are mosaics also at the upper walls here. I don't know if you got to see them, but there are even more mosaics on the upper wall from this side. Now look,